So what's up, y'all? Mantic came out with their beta version of Dead Zone, and this is, I think, 2.0 they're working on. So I've been play testing the first and second version, and this is the third version that they released to the public. I'm just going to give a quick overview, talk about some of the changes, some of the things that they left out, and we'll try to sum up the game or how its direction of the game is going. So let's get right to it. So I'm going to go from what I did was I downloaded it onto a book. Got myself a nice little binder here. Put all the pages in, did little notes and whatnot, and we'll just take it from there, right? So basically, you start up the game. It's telling you to take these steps. Okay, choose a mission, select your strike team, set up the battlefield, place objectives and items, recon and deploy. Now, from there, you basically you select your army, you deploy, and then you start playing. So what they're doing here is now there's two different ways to win. Okay, if you wipe out your opponent's strike team, and you earn victory points specific to the mission. Okay, so it's a new way to score points. What it was in the past, it was at the end of the game. You would hold your missions or hold your objectives, and that would be part of your mission. Now what they're doing is if you kill the guy, every character has victory points. So if you kill a character, you'll score those points, and they're cumulative. So you kind of add them up to the end of the game. Then when you get to a certain amount, there you go. If that's in the mission. So that's pretty good. And then there are objectives on the table, and if you're standing in them at the end of the round, you will keep score. Previously, it was, let's say you're there, and then somebody moves into that cube, or somebody moves into that adjacent cube. You'll be able to you won't be able to have a score. So this one is at the end of the round, you add everything up, which is a little different, but it's pretty good. Okay, so setting up the battlefield. If you're familiar with Dead Zone, it's on a grid. It's a 3-inch by 3-inch grid, and it's 2 foot by 2 foot. And all the scenery is modular, so it's 3 by 3. And you just set it up that way. Same thing. It's pretty cool. That's kind of what a lot of people, when they got into Dead Zone, it was like you see the scenery, and that's what caught my eye first. And when I walked over and did the demo, that was it. So that's still pretty cool. All right, you place your objectives. There's 2 deployment zones. There's a blue deployment zone, a red deployment zone, but that's I'm not too crazy about. If you have the whole table edge or the whole edge of the mat, it's pretty good. But I'm a little iffy about this. We've been playing it both ways. So we did the blue and red deployment zone, or just table side deployment zone. So you make your own judgment on that. But I kind of like the old way better. The new initiative rules is very different. Before it was just you would pull a mission card, you would pull deployment on the card, and you would look on the card and say friend or foe, and that's who would go first. And also the fact that those cards are gone, they've done something different. They do what's called a recon test. And a recon test is where you take 5 dice, and each faction has a specific number for the recon dice. So let's say it's a 4+. I would roll 5 dice. My opponent would roll 5 dice. Let's say it was 4+. If I had 3 4s and they had 4 4s, they would win initiative. They would go first. So that's the new initiative test. That's the recon test. Now, with the recon test, there are things that you could use later on, but we'll get to that later on. But that's the new way of finding initiative. And then basically, that's how it starts. All right. All the dice tests are the same. So, for shooting, for whatever, if it's a 4+, you roll a 4+, your opponent rolls a survive. Same thing with combat. So that's all changed. That was nice. Exploding 8s are still there. So that I really liked. That was a cool Mantic thing. And if you played Dreadball, it's the same thing. You roll a 6 and it explodes. You can roll again. So I really like that. All right. Now, something new. All right, big time. This is they got rid of the cards, and everybody was flipping out about the cards. But now what they did was they changed it, and they added command dice. And what you do is everyone gets 3. If you have a leader that has Tactician 2, something new, and it'll have a 2 in parentheses, Tactician 1. what happens is you get 2 or 1 extra dice depending on what the number is. Now, when you roll, it has specific specific things on it. You know, the Mantic is going to release dice that have the symbols on it, and what it is when you use it, you put it next to your character. The thing is that we've just been rolling 1 through 6. So if you play the PDF, you know, you play the dice. It's here, and it's pretty cool. +1 model activation. Now, that's key because one of the big changes was when you used to have a command stat on your leader had a 3/3 command stat, you would be able to move 6 guys, and then your opponent would go. Now, whoever goes first, then the person goes second, then back. So it's I go, you go, I go, you go, kind of like chess. But the thing is with the command dice, you can kind of start to activate a few more models. So if you roll a 1, you get a +1 model activation. So let's say I have 3 number 1s. I can go, if I go first, I can get my guy go, and then I can activate 4 more guys, 4 in total afterwards. So it's kind of cool. It's that's very powerful that you can do 2, 3 guys depending on how many number 1s on the command dice that you roll. +1 to any normal test. Okay, pretty good. It's good. You could do that to any test: survive, shoot, fight. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now these next 3 you can only use once per model during the round. You get an additional move action, basically move 1 cube. Additional shoot action, very nice. An additional fight action. So let's say you have a good fighter and he fights someone and someone else is in the cube. There you go. And then the last one is Army Special. So now we're going to get to this later on when we go over the factions. But in the Army Special rule, the Mantic Splat, it's the the symbol of the company is going to be on the dice. Depending on your faction, you can use that dice to use a special thing that's faction specific, whether it be rerolling a test or repairing a hull point on a vehicle, or the Plague have one, which is awesome, that if you kill somebody, they automatically come back as a zombie and they work for your faction. So that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so let's get into the actions. All right, move action is the same thing. It's a short action. You get in 2 full actions. You move. You can only move once, and it's a short action. Okay, so that's that. Moving in fights, if you move into a queue that someone's there, it automatically has a fight. Sprint, which is a long action. Now, what they did was they got rid of the stat cards. Like I said, I think it's a cardless game now. But what they're doing is on your stat line, let's say movement is 1-2. That means you could sprint. So that means you sprint up 2 cubes, and that would take a long action. Same thing, boxes, as far as who could fit into what, depending on your size, you can get into into a certain cube. That's all the same. Okay, moving up and down levels. Shoot modifiers. Now this has changed. There's a lot of changes here. They removed some stuff, and I agree with some of it I don't, but making it simpler. Okay, so with shoot, what they previously had was like if you took a short action and aimed, you get a +1 dice, +2 if it's a clear shot, +1 if you're on a higher level, and -1 if you're enraged, -1 if it's a longer range, or -2 if there's a friendly in your cube. So if I'm shooting into a cube and there's some friendly models in there, guys in my faction that are there, I'm gonna get a -2. Now what they've done was they've taken that out. Okay, line of sight is line of sight. Okay, either you see the guy or you don't. If he's in cover, there's no modifier. Okay, basically the only 2 shoot modifiers that there are now is a +2 if you have a clear shot. So if you see the whole model, +2. -2 friendly fire, which means that if there's a friendly guy in your cube, there is a -2. So they removed a lot. They removed the aim, enrage and stuff. Now there are things where I was listening to Jake, and I've been reading his Quickworthy, and in that it says that things are hidden here and there. So like if you have a sniper rifle and you have a sniper scope, it's a +2 to shoot. Okay, if you have certain things like weight of fire and different things like that, it helps you. But there's a lot of things that were taken out. Also, that's your shoot action. All right, so let's talk about fighting. You're going to move into a cube and you're going to attack and you're going to melee, depending on how good you are. Less of a number it is to roll that dice. So now it's basically the same thing. 3 fight test. You can use command dice and it's stuff like that. Here are the modifiers. You get a +1 dice if you moved into this cube. So if you move into that cube and you attack, you get a +1 dice. Okay, same as before. You get a +1 dice if you got a buddy in the cube. So you have 2 guys in the cube. If you move in and there's a guy already in there, you're going to get a +2, which is nice. +1 if your opponent's injured. So that works pretty good because before it was if you were hurt, you would have a -1 to fight. Now you have a +1 if your opponent's hurt. So the guy who you're fighting against, let's say he's injured, he doesn't get a minus modifier, but since he's hurt, he's maybe can't react, so I get to fight. So I like that. I like that a lot better. Okay, +1 if your opponent is pinned. So if he's pinned in there, or the model's on the floor, he's pinned and I get in there, I get a +1, which is nice. He's got to get up, or maybe he's hurt, or maybe he doesn't know what's happened. I startled him. So if you move into, let's say for example, you move into a cube that has a model that's pinned, you would get a +1 for moving in, okay, and a +1 for him being pinned. If he's injured, you're going to get a +1 for that, so you're getting 3 dice. So that's pretty good. I like that. The fight's the same. The dice tests go back and forth. AP armor, all that stuff. AP weapon, whatnot. Everything goes in, and it's the same as before. It's a little bit quicker. I like it. A few less things, but it's keeps it going, keeps it going, keeps it going. Using the command dice, we used to like throw a lot of cards out there. So +1 to fight, +1 to shoot, like that. Now you have +1 to any dice, and then you can use a +1 modifier to fight. So if you're doing real good and you want to finish that guy off, you can. Now the only thing they took away was the chaining, the chain linked way. We call it daisy chaining. So if you're in the cube, and previously if you're in the cube and let's say you killed an opponent and you doubled him out, you get another fight action. So you would be able to either, if you didn't kill him and you doubled him out, you could fight him again, or you could move and then you could move into another cube which somebody's there, or you could run, or if there was someone in the cube, like say he had one of his faction in the cube, I'd be able to attack him. So that was pretty good. But the thing is in the past, you get a guy who would kill one guy and then get a fight action, and he would kill that guy in the cube also. Move into another cube. Let's say he had a free move action. Move into that cube that someone else is there. Get another fight action, and then move into another cube. So there were times when we were playing, there were 3, 4, 5 guys dying, which was actually pretty cool. But one guy can kill like 3 to 5 guys in one rapid succession without you going. So it was tough. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. Maybe you could have got 1 free action, or you would have been able to, like, let's say, get another shoot action, get 1 free action, maybe move or stay in the cube, maybe kill this guy, draw a gun and shoot over here or something. I don't know. I do miss that. I do miss that. But it did get out of hand where like you would have a Morbeast go through 4 things, or believe it or not, the Craw was very good at this. He would kill and double out and then move to the next one, move to the next one, and kill 3 or 4 guys at one time. So maybe there's a happy medium in there. I kind of like the daisy chaining, but I didn't like it when I was on the receiving end of it. But if it was limited, I don't know. That's just my opinion. But that's it. Okay, so now what we also have is they have a special action, a short action. So let's say in your mission, you got to go to somewhere and disable this bomb, or you have to do this, whatever the mission is, that's a special action, it's a short action. So anytime there's a special action that you do, or your faction-specific action, it's considered a short action. Okay, that's something new, depending on what the mission or the ability that calls for it. Okay, now, before we get up to stand up, which is a short action, the aggression levels are gone. Enraged, alert, pinned, suppressed, it's completely gone, and there's only pinned now. So, if you have when I used to run the Plague, you give everybody who didn't shoot, or everybody who was just a melee guy, your stage 2s, stage 1, the dogs, you would all give them, you would enrage them right at the beginning of the match. You just enrage them, and they would get a +1 to shoot. They would also get some other benefits to that. So that's gone. That's completely gone. Now it's only pin. So now if you're pinned to stand up, there is no change of aggression. Before you had to get mean. Now they just call it stand up. So basically, he stands up in the cube that he's in and does whatever. If a guy comes in and fights you, you're going to get that. He's going to get that bonus, but you're also going to become alert right after that. So, but aggression is gone. I don't know how I feel about that. The aggression was kind of cool. It was. The blazing away, which is also gone. I should have said that in shoot, but blaze away is gone, and that would lower your aggression levels. So I don't know. I don't know. Blaze away, I'm not too concerned about. You know, you'll see later on there are certain weapons and blaze away's in there. So what I notice is a lot of things are still in here, but they're hidden. You know, so they didn't get lost in the sauce, but they're in the sauce there. So you got to kind of look for them, and they're trying it out. So like I said, aggression is gone and blaze away is gone. Okay, so let's talk damage. Okay, old Dead Zone, everybody had 2 wounds, unless you were vulnerable, which meant that if you took one hit, you were dead. And vulnerable still in the game, but now everybody had 2 wounds. Now it seems different. All right, there's a chart and then there's an example, and this is where it gets a little wonky. So stick with me and let's try to figure it out. Total damage, 0 damage. The model is undamaged. All right, you don't take any damage, you're okay. 1 damage. 1 or more damage, but not more than the model's size. The model is injured. Mark the model with the damage counter equal to the actual damage caused. More damage than the model's size. The model is killed. Now, the new thing in Dead Zone is it's supposed to be like if you're a size 1, 2, 3, or 4 model, you have that many wounds. So if I'm a size 1 model, okay, if I'm a size 1 model, I have 1 wound. You shoot me once, dead. Okay. Size 2 has 2 wounds, 3. Now, in the previous edition, in the previous play testing that we were doing with the previous betas, it was basically everybody had 1 wound or 2 wounds or so on and so forth. The way it seems now is that like 1 or more damage, but not more than the model size. So if I'm a size 1 and I take 1 damage, I should be still alive. So I get 2. So now let's say I'm a size 1 with the wound and I take 2 damage. That should kill me outright. Okay, just kills me. So we were saying because there's medipacks and there's medics, the guys who heal you. But if you only have 1 wound, what's the point? So now it kind of makes sense. So it's going back to that. And then if you have a bigger model, if you're a size 3, then you would have 3 wounds. So it's harder to kill the big monsters, whatever. So I like that. It's not bad. Resolving the damage and all that stuff, everything is the same. You add the AP in, you do all that good stuff. So basically, you're undamaged, you're injured. Okay, the model continues to fight, but they suffer negative modifiers in a few tests, but are otherwise able to continue as normal, and then you're dead. All right, so it's basically the same. The only thing is that some models have more wounds. In the old edition, it was like, say, a Strider had more hull points or structure points. This one, it's, the bigger you are, the more wounds you have. Okay, so let's talk about some additional rules. Pinned is basically, when you're suppressed, or suppression or something, and you get a model, you turn him on his side, he's pinned. He's taking cover, or he's damaged, or he's putting his head down. And so they say in the midst of combat, models sometimes get blasted off their feet or simply choose to hit the deck to avoid incoming fire. This is called pinned. To show a model is pinned, simply line him down. So now, if he's attacked, fight action will stand up automatically. The opponent gains a +1 for fighting, so it's pretty good. So it's as far as the aggression is concerned, it's the only one that made the cut this time. Scatter is the same. When you throw a frag or you throw something and it scatters, you see if it scatters. You pick the dice and you count, you know, roll the dice, and it's 1 to 8, and that's where things get scattered or whatever. Now, let's talk about models that are falling or that. That was a pretty cool dynamic for Dead Zone. Things are getting thrown, things are getting slammed into walls or falling off the terrain, and you would get damage for doing that. They really simplified this. This I really like. I think this is really a step in a positive direction. So if you're slammed into a wall, right? Let's say you have something that blows up, or you know, power gauntlet, or even a gun that pushes you back and you slam you into the wall. You roll a 3 dice survive test. So it's going to be 3 dice plus your whatever your survive is. If it's 4 plus, 5 plus, 3 plus. You could also use command dice. You can do that. Some of the factions have things to help them with that, so it's pretty cool. You roll into the wall. Okay, basically the wall is rolling against you, which is your opponent, and it's a 5 plus survive test. He rolls a 5 plus test. Then you compare, and the dice test, which is a mantic thing. Exploding 8s are in there too. So if draw survive wins, the model is unharmed. So if it's a draw or survive, that's it. You're good. Nothing happens. The wall wins for every number of successes above what you rolled is damage. Okay, and that's it. Is the potential damage. So now, if you're falling, 3 dice survival test, gravity rolls 3 plus 5, 3 dice 5 plus test. So it's basically the same. It's plus 1 dice if you're falling further down. Okay, draw survive wins. Okay, the model is pinned. So now if you get blasted off and you fall onto the floor, you might not take any damage, but you're pinned. Okay, not bad. Not bad. That's pretty easy to remember. Gravity wins, model's pinned, and the difference is number of potential damage. So, depending on what happens, tough and armor will come into effect. Okay. Also, sometimes you get hit by a weapon or something blows up, and you get blown directly away. Basically, you draw a line of sight to the guy, and that's where you go directly away. So if a guy is in one cube and he goes blast you into another cube, directly away from the firers or for the attacker, and that's good. It's easy to remember. It's not wonky like the other one was. Okay. In this beta rules, they don't really go into missions too much. There's only a Pathfinder mission where you'd roll. So I guess if you're not having mission cards, you're just rolling on it, and there are certain things you can do. But they don't really go into it. I guess that's going to come out later on. So, but right now, the missions are very scarce. But there's one mission they have is patrol, which is basically just the kill all mission. So, killing an enemy model, you get the VP, you get the victory points of that model. Holding an objective, you must have the only model in the cube, like we said before, and they put 4 objectives on the board. The closest one to you is worth 1. The one further away from you or closer to your opponent is worth 2. So if you can hold those 2, you would get 3. You hold another one, it's 5. Another one is 6. So that's pretty cool. And at the end of each round, each is in bold, because before it was at the end of the game, or you would claim victory at the end of the game. Now it's cumulative. So let's say you have a guy who holds a 2-point objective for 3 rounds. You would get 6 points for that. Then he gets blasted off, and you already got your 6 points. So that's pretty cool. All right. In the game in Dead Zone, we have the acrylic counters, but it comes with those little cardboard counters, and you put items all over the board. And some things they have AP armor or grenades or smoke screens, and also have an intel. When you get the intel, that's 1 point, so that hasn't changed. And I always like that. It's like you got some vital intel, you send it back to the HQ, and they you get a victory report for that. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Now, the thing that they did is they changed the basic game. When you first get Dead Zone, and then when we played at Adepticon, it was 70 points. So now what happens is the minimum game is 100 points. And then 100, 150, 200. So what happens is the victory points required to win would be, out of 100 would be 12, 150 would be 16, and then 200 would be 20. So the larger game, or the more points that you have, the more victory points you'd have to do. Obviously, you'd have either more models, or you'd buy something new. You'd be able to buy different weapons and make guys more elite. But then again, that'll key into your victory points. We'll get into that when we get into weapons and list building. Now, recon. Recon effects. You always need to make a recon test at the start of a battle to decide who starts with initiative. So every faction has a number. Let's say it's 4+. I roll my recon test. My opponent rolls a recon test. Whoever gets the most, um, whoever gets the most successful rolls. So if I roll 5 and he rolls 4, I win. I go first. I get initiative. In this now you have different recon effects. So let's say I was 1 better than him. I get to roll on the recon effect dice, and there's a bunch of really cool things here. You know, choose any one result. Remove one of your models from the battlefield, and is on the flanking maneuver. You can move three different models up to 1 cube each. That's pretty cool, and you know they're really really cool. I like that. You know, you just get a little extra. You know, you win the initiative, and it's like, you know, you're winning initiative. Now you're going to punch them in the face before you even start the battle. It's actually pretty cool. You keep the mission secret and stuff. So right here they have a Pathfinder mission. What I've been telling you, what I've been describing about the victory points, and that is called patrol. And you're on patrol. You're just trying to get the objectives and kill as many guys as you can to get up to your number. So like for 200, be 20, and so on. So Pathfinder mission 1 to 2 is a patrol. Staking a claim. Objectives earn double the victory points. Double victory points. Models killed are worth half the victory points. So now, if you get on an objective and it's 2 points, it's 4 points. But if you kill a guy, if he's worth 1 point, you get, I guess, nothing. You get 0. All right. Assassination. Earn double the victory points for killing an enemy leader. Objectives earn 0 points. So basically, you're on an assassination mission, and no reason to hold any objectives. Lie of the land. Each friendly model that moves off the board through the enemy deployment zone earns twice their own victory points value in victory points. So if you have a 4-point model, he runs off the board. It's a 8-point model. It is eight victory points. I'll be honest with you, that was the infiltrate mission. I never liked these missions. I couldn't stand them. I would get those, and I was like, oh god, and I hated them. You basically go from your end and then run off the other guy's end, where he's kind of hunkering down and stuff. I never liked those missions. If they can get rid of that, I'd be great. They give you a pre-gen strike force, which is versus the Veermen. I guess they did this because in the new infestation box, you're going to get enforcers and Veermen. It's basically the Pathfinders versus the Veermen. That was the big thing, but there's no Pathfinders here. So force a captain, enforcer, peacekeeper. So that's what they're giving you. So it's pretty cool, you know, like that. If you've never played before, that's a good way to start. Okay, let's get into how to build a strike team, or building your own strike team. Things have changed. Okay, used to be where if you could take as many leaders as you want, and you could take as many troops as you want. But if you want to get a specialist or a unique model, something like that, for every troop, you would have to have one unique or one specialist. Now that has changed. Okay, you can take only one leader. You can take any number of troops, so that hasn't changed. You may take up to one specialist for each troop. That hasn't changed. Now, you may take up to one vehicle for every 3 troops. So, if you want to take a bike or a jet bike or something like that, Strider, whatnot, okay? That's the way it is. Each model comes equipped with a standard loadout and weapons and gear shown in the stat line. Same as before. We were playing a few beta, I think the second beta version, they didn't have any things. The first one it was basically like the stat card. You have a guy with a rifle and a special blade or something like that, or a melee weapon. Now they took it away, so we would just every guy had special stuff. Now they're giving you the basic stuff, so which is pretty cool. All right, now there is a rarity chart. Okay, and basically what that means is there's a certain amount of special things you can get. You just can't give everybody a super rare or unique. Everybody would have a energy shield, or anybody would have frag grenades or whatever. You know, so basically there's a chart, and every item has a specific either it's common, rare, or unique. So for instance, let's say we'll go with 200 points, because 200 points seems to be a pretty good point to play a game. Okay, in my opinion. You have a 200-point game. You would get 4 common items. You would get 2 rare items and 1 unique item. You don't have to take it, but you have the options to take these, and the items add more. So basically, if you have, let's say, a HQ and you don't want him to die, you want to make him a little bit stronger, you would give him an energy shield. Well, the energy shield might be unique or rare, so he would be the only one getting that energy shield. If you have a Pathfinder and you want to give him a defender shield, well, those are rare. So if you have a 200-point game, you can do 2 of those. And then the common ones, you know, you can just give out. They're like frag grenades, AP ammo, and stuff like that. So stuff like that hasn't changed. Victory points we covered, which is basically if you shoot a guy or you kill a guy in combat, you would get those points. So you put the model aside, and at the end of the round, you'd add it up with whatever objectives you have. So that's pretty cool. That's a new thing. I like that. I really like the victory points. And now we're going to cruise into stat lines, okay? Now, no more cards. At the top of the cards, it was very cool. You used to have, you know, there was like, you know, it was a fist, and that was your melee, 4+, 5+. Shoot stat, which was the bullets, and so on and so forth, command stat. Command stats are out. Command stats are out. Now, they have a leader, trooper, specialist, or a character. That's the type. So, like I said, you know, you take 1 leader, but you take as many troops, every troop specialist, and so on and so forth. So, in the old days, you could take as many leaders as you want. That's the one change I don't like. I think you should be able to take, if you want to take as many leaders as you can, you can. I think it's just you know, it's something new, but the leader kind of trickles down and tells you what to do there. So you'll see when we cover that in the factions. Speed, it's a new thing to speed. It's in addition to the stat line. Used to be movement 1, and sprint would be 2, or sprint would be 3 if you were agile or quick or whatever like that. So now it's just added to the stat line. If it's a 1-2, you can sprint for 2. Never really had a problem with that. If you were agile or you were, you know, quick or anything like that, you would be able to run, you know, you'd be able to move 2 or sprint to 3. It's not a big deal, but now it's written on there. I guess a lot of people had a problem with that. It was never a problem over here. Shoot, fight, survive is all the same. Your size, a fixed value describing the height or bulk determining the cube. This is also a measure of how much damage the model can take before it is removed from play. So as you saw the chart we discussed before, we got to kind of get, I would like to get a little clarification on that. But the way it seems is it's back to the old thing that, you know, everybody has 2 wounds, and if you're bigger, you have more than that. Armor is still the same. If you have it, 1, 2, 0. But what I have noticed is in this game, or in this version, the armors have gone down. Everybody's armors is less. So, you know, guys that had 3 armor are now down to 1 or 2 armor. So I guess that was the way to make it quicker, so you wouldn't be so survivable. Victory points is the new thing. Okay, victory points and equipment. Some guys got standard equipment. Some guys just have a little bit of stuff, and you could equip them later, which is actually pretty cool. I like that. Being able to do that, more of going from a miniature game to a kind of an RPG game, or, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons, you used to be able to pick your armor and pick this, or you used to be able to find stuff later on. So that's the way it's cool. I think that's a pretty good change. The range of the weapon. Now here's a big change. If your range is, say, 3, in the old days that I have a range 3, I would shoot at 5. Something was at 5. I would get a penalty of a -1 dice. Your range. This is the maximum range, maximum weapons range in cubes. RF weapons may only be used in a fight. Okay, so a range fight would be fight, but the range, you can't go. If you have a range 3 weapon, you can't go 3. You got to get it up close and personal before you shoot that. And so, not bad. You know, if you have a pistol, it shouldn't be able to shoot 300 yards. It's just not going to happen. All right. The AP is the same thing. You know, AP hasn't changed. Armor penetration and abilities, special skills and abilities and models that they have. And there's an alphabetical list. We're going to cover all the abilities in another time. So far, those are the new things with the stat lines. So that's basically it. That's Dead Zone in a whole. That's the overview of what you're doing. I like it. I like it. I'll be honest with you, I like it. When we get into the factions and the special rules, you'll see some cool things in there. But we've been playing it. You know, a lot of guys. You know, I'm reading the internet and everybody's rage quitting and going crazy. But give it a chance. I like the new game. It's going to be different. Every edition. I mean, how many miniature games do you play? Think about it. How many miniature games you play? I've been playing 40K for a while. I've gone through 5 different editions. Every edition's either got better or worse. What happens is, I think the problem is, or in my opinion, what it is you like something. There's something about Dead Zone that you like. You love blazing away. You would get an army specifically and blaze away the crap out of anybody. Now blaze away's not there. Now what do you do? Now what do you do? You hate the game. You hate the game. Oh, my guy I used to, one of my biggest strategies was I'd climb up to second or third level, use a move card, and then use a command action to get my sniper up there. Now he's going to shoot, all right? Well, a sniper would get, he'd be up top, you get +2 for being a sniper, +1 for being a level above. Then if I get a clear shot, I get 2. So now I'm rolling 8, 9, 10, 12 dice, whatever it was. That was really cool. Now you can't do that. I think I've been reading that they've been toying about that, and it's not a bad idea to add that back in. But you know, level above 1, I always like that. I always like getting guys higher and doing that. Um, all in all, I think that the change is a positive. Now, let's be fair. Let's be fair. This is the beta version. This is the version for us to go out there. Let's play this game. Let's have some fun doing this game, and then from there, we're going to take feedback. And one thing I've learned about Mantic, I've been involved with this. I've been not involved, but yeah, I have been involved. I speak to Ronnie on a regular basis. I speak to Pat. I speak to some other guys, guys from the Dead Zone podcast, my own crew. We discuss this game a lot. They take a lot of feedback. If everybody is going to quit because you don't get a +1 for a level higher, I'm sure they'll make it. They'll put it in there. And also, we also have this option. I have all my cards from the old things. The Veerman won't have cards, but you know what? I'll Photoshop it and I'll make my own. We can play the old way all the time. Use our command cards, use our mission cards, use that. The new Dead Zone, though, it is cooler. I like it. There's little changes, but I'll tell you what, it was quick. It was quick. We picked it up quick. We only had to look at the rules 1 or 2 times. It wasn't that bad. In my opinion, I do enjoy it. I like it a lot. You could disagree with me, and that's okay, because you know what they say about opinions. Opinions are like buttholes. Everybody got one. Sometimes they stink. All right? My opinion, this is the way it is. I like it. I'm going to keep playing this game. I really like this game. I'm going to paint up these models and stuff. I can't wait. The only problem with this is I can't wait to get this stuff in January, or it looked like February from the Kickstarter. But all in all, positive changes. So thanks for sticking with me through this whole thing. I hope you're playing out there. We're going to do some battle reports. We're gonna really tear this up. I mean, I've been playing it for about 3 months now. I like the game. There's some things that they could fix. Like it burns was my favorite rule. They did fix it. It's a lot better. We're going to get to that in the abilities video. But please do me a favor. This video is very important to me. Comment down below. And if this is your first time here, once you subscribe, see some of our other videos. And if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, you can thumbs down it. I don't care. But you know what? It's very important. Give me your opinion. Let me know what you think. All right, guys? So thanks for hanging in with me. Like, rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.